people? What is up, people? This is Abraham Walker with Ask A Walker, your Northern Virginia real estate agent, and I'm accompanied here with my co-host,
Crystal Walker.
Excellent. And we have a great show for you all tonight. We will be covering one question out of 100 questions every first-time home buyer should ask, and we have a question out of 100 questions every home seller should ask. Before we begin our segments, we're actually going to go over the Fairfax County numbers. We're going to talk to you about what's going on in the market for January 2023. This should give you some insights as to what is going on, what you should expect in the event that you're thinking about buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate over the next couple months, right? So we have a very exciting spring market that's ahead of us. Before we get in, just want to let you know there is a link in the description to the Perfect Home Questionnaire. Fill out that form and we will schedule a time to meet online via Zoom to answer any and all of your questions about real estate. So that's whether you're buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate. There's a link in the description. If you're watching us on TikTok, there is a link in our bio to the Perfect Home Questionnaire to schedule that for yourself. All right, so let's get into the numbers. We're covering Fairfax County right now. So Northern Virginia consists of, as far as for our channel, we look at Northern Virginia as 6 locations: Fairfax, Arlington, Loudoun County, Prince William, Stafford County, and Alexandria City. So today we're going to look at Fairfax County. The reason why we're looking at Fairfax County is Fairfax County represents 40% of all transactions in Northern Virginia for the month of January. So it's a sizable chunk when you consider that the next highest percentage of transactions comes out of Prince William County at 23%. Did you know that?
I did not know the percentages, but I did know that our top 3 would be Fairfax, Loudoun, and Prince William County.
Excellent. All right, so we're going to go over 5 categories for you. We're going to cover closed sales, average sales price, average days on market, percentage of units selling over asking, and average price over asking. Numbers 4 and 5 are kind of unique to our channel, and we really just look at these numbers when we're in a up market like we're in right now. So a seller's market usually creates opportunities for properties to sell over and above the asking price. So number 4, percentage of units selling over asking price. This is the number of properties that have an offer or closed above the selling price. So we want to know that number so that you can put together your strategy in the event that you're going to be competing with someone else. You don't want to go into a situation where you're in a competition and you think that you can just offer list price, or you think you can come in with requesting closing costs or come in under list price. That's just not the case in a competitive market. The next number we're going to look at is average price over asking. This is in the event that there was a competitive offer situation and the property sold over asking price. What is that number on average? This is going to give you some insights into what you should pay over asking in the event you find yourself wanting a property that someone else wants. For Fairfax County, closed sales are down 34% from January 2023 to January 2022. Now, there were 569 transactions in 2023. This is January. And in December, there were 794 transactions, which means that the transactions are down 28% from December to January. We should start to see more transactions actually sell this coming February, and I'll talk about this in our conclusion. All right, so when we look at average sales price is at $721,000 in the month of January 2023. This is up a measly 1% from last year, which should be a little concerning for some of our buyers who think that they're going to get deals. This is a clear indication that prices are not coming down, and actually they're holding steady or even slightly increasing. We are about to prepare for another gangbuster spring season. If you're a buyer, this is going to be probably more stressful for you. If you're a seller, this means that you're probably going to make a lot of money because most people only sell their properties every 7 to 10 years. This is also pretty much no change from December of 2022. So this is, again, another sign that prices are holding steady even in the winter market, in the winter months, which a lot of people thought that prices were going to come down a little bit. They thought that the market was going to soften. We just don't see that yet. What do you think about that?
I mean, we see that across the board. We saw that when we did the numbers yesterday for all of Northern Virginia. So, and we are seeing that now as prices are starting to increase, and we're starting to see more of those multiple offer situations.
All right, so number 3 is average days on market for Fairfax County in January 2023 was 36 days on market. That's up 8%. This means that it's taking properties longer to sell. I didn't mention this yet, and January sales are a lagging indicator. So that means that January sales are really a representation of what happened in December. At the end of this presentation, we're going to talk about the leading indicators like new listings, new active listings, new pendings as well. So you can kind of see how this information, while it is more popular to talk about, it's not going to give you a good sign of what to expect in February, March, April, May. All right. And then days on market in December 2022 were 30 days. And so that means that we have days on market increasing as we go into the spring season. I don't think that we're going to see this in February. All right, number 4, percentage of units selling over the asking price. 23% of all transactions in January sold over the asking price. This is a 15-point decrease from last January, where we had 38% of all homes selling over the asking price. And this is 1 point difference from December 2022. So this is showing us that there is some stability in the market where almost a quarter of all transactions are selling above the asking price, which if you ask just a regular home buyer on the street, if they think that 1 out of every 4 transactions they're going to have to compete for, they probably wouldn't expect that. And number 5, average price over asking price in Fairfax County for January 2023 was $21,000 over the asking price. So this means that in cases where properties were sold over the asking price, that price was $21,000 over the asking price. That means that somebody bought, or usually they just offer or increase their offer to include that additional fee or that additional overage in their mortgage.
So we often see escalation clauses in the hot market where if a property is listed at X, you will offer to go up, by increment, by a certain increment to beat the nearest offer, nearest best offer.
And this number is down by 23%. By 9% from December. So December is 23,000, and January is 21,000. I suspect that we're going to get a large jump in February, and we're going to talk about that a little bit at the end. All right, so the top zip codes as far as sales are concerned, 22003 in Annandale had 30 sales, 20190 in Reston had 28 sales. 22033 in Fairfax had 23 sales, and then tied for 4th was Reston and Alexandria, Fairfax County. So 20191 and 22309. They both had 22 transactions. And so Alexandria, Fairfax County is the area that is shares a border with Alexandria City. I know it's confusing, but the Northern Virginia was running out of names, so they just decided to use a bunch of them over. All right. So now, what is the conclusion? What do we get? What do we gather from this information? Well, when we look at new listings and new pendings, new listings were 790 new listings in January, and then they had 791 new pendings. This is a clear sign that the market is sucking up all of the inventory that's coming on the market. Now, some of those properties are going to be older listings, so we are going to get some listings that were previously on the market now going into February. But if you look at the data, and we'll have to do this at another time. If you look at the data in December, we did not have an equilibrium of new listings to new pendings. In November, it was even more harsh as far as like the number of new pendings that were sucked up. So this is a great sign for sellers that they are going to have a competitive offer, which means that they're going to get whatever price that they ask in reason this coming spring. So buyers beware. Buyers, just get yourself prepared for a lot of competition this coming spring. Also, you should expect that prices increase in February. You should expect to have prices increase in February and March, and then days on market should start to trend downward. We should start to see as inventory starts to get sucked up more and more often, we should start to see days on market start to creep down in those the low 20s, because I think where we are right now. So right now we're at 36 days, 33 days was last year. So we should start to see this number come down into the 20s. If it gets into the teens, then that means that it's just going to be pandemonium. All right. So that was the numbers. If you have any questions about buying a home, selling a home, investing in real estate, this is the perfect time to post those questions down below in the comment section. We will answer any question that you may have in between our segments. So the next segment that we have coming up is 100 questions every first-time home buyer should ask. And tonight's question is how to decide what to offer. This is a great book. We highly recommend it. The only challenge with this book is that it doesn't give you a local's perspective from a real estate agent. So there's some things that this book suggests that are just not likely in our market. And it's important for you to understand what you can and cannot do, or what is in our custom or what's
Yes,
outside
I
of our
think this is a
custom.
great general book for a buyer. However, there are a few things that are contrary to or that are market dependent, and I don't think she does necessarily the best job at pointing out how to differentiate between those different markets.
Right. But it's a great book to get you started on the journey. And I always believe that more education leads to better results. So that's why we are doing this series to kind of walk you through the whole process and give you a local real estate agent perspective. I've been in business for 14 years, almost 10 years in Northern Virginia. So we do have some history of success making money. All right. So let's see if we have any questions. Post any questions that you may have in the comment section. We'll clear those questions out before we move on to our next segment. And while you're waiting or while you're getting those questions, just know there is a link in the description to the Perfect Home Questionnaire. Fill out that form and we will schedule a time to meet online via Zoom to answer any and all of your questions. So that's whether you're buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate. All right. So question number 31, how do I decide what to offer for the home?
So first things first, of course, if you're looking to make an offer on a home, we're going to go ahead and assume that you have already that the home is going to be within the amount that you've been pre-approved by your lender, and that it meets what you consider to be the maximum amount you're going to pay on a monthly basis, right? So we already know that this is a property that you would seriously consider if you can get it for your price. And so since we know it's going to be within that budget, the next thing we want to do is we want to look at the comps. So you're going to have your agent prepare a CMA for you, comparative market analysis, and we're going to look at the properties that are similar to the home in the similar location, similar size, condition, built around the same time, and you want to see what those homes are selling for. We always want to stress that you're also going to look at those two things Abraham pointed out in the earlier presentation, items number 4 and 5. We want to know the number of homes that are selling above list price and also what percentage, because that's going to give you an idea of how much to offer.
Since we're in a competitive market, which Northern Virginia is, it's not likely that you're going to get a significant discount on a lot of the properties that you're looking at because there's so much demand for our houses. We have been in a seller's market for at least the last 5 to 6 years, which means that sellers have benefited from not having to keep their houses on the market that long. That mindset has trickled through everyone's brains here. So everyone thinks that their properties are going to sell relatively quickly and close to some level of asking price. So while the comps are important for you to understand what you're going to offer, the comps also are there to make sure that the seller is quote unquote realistic, because it's likely that you're going to be offering or providing the seller with their asking price.
In this market, definitely. So depending on the market is going to determine what your CMA is going to look like. So when we're in a slower, more traditional market, then, or I guess an even market, then you're going to be able to look at comps for like the last 6 months. But right now, as the market begins to heat up, we're really only looking at what's sold over the last 1 to 2 months. Because that's really going to determine what a seller can get today. A home that sold in November for $600,000 is not going to get 600 today. It's very likely they can get 625 today, right? So you want to make sure you're looking at the most recent numbers and seeing what other buyers are willing to pay. So what Abraham and I always suggest is that you figure out what you're paying what your point of pain is, and you figure out how much you're willing to go over if you do have to go over that sales price, and you see if it falls in line with what other buyers are doing to win properties.
Old comps don't matter too. So we had a client that was once looking in the Falls Church area, and they qualified for I think like $650,000, and they took a year off. They were like, you know what, we don't want to. It was very competitive in Falls Church. It's always competitive in Falls Church, right? Falls Church is one of the more desirable areas to live inside of Fairfax County, and they took a year off. In that year, prices rose $75,000, and they were now priced out of the market. So they could no longer use those old comps. Now, I know that's an exaggerated example, and you want to keep in mind that your comps have to be fresh. They have to be relevant to the property that you're looking at, and they have to match the property type to some degree. So if you're looking at new construction properties or really newer properties, which are ones that have been built in the last 10 years, it's going to be hard to compare those to some property that's 20, 30, 40 years old. To the best of your ability, you're looking for properties that are very similar,
including condition, right? So you don't want to look at a neighbor who has done a full renovation and they were able to sell their home for top dollar, or they got, $50,000 above list price. If you're looking at a property that has fewer updates or no updates, so of course you want to consider that. And even size, within one subdivision, you'll find townhomes or single family homes of varying sizes. So we're going to make sure the square footage is about the same. The updates and condition are about the same.
All right, so let's talk about comps in the sense that the way we prepare comps is we look back in the past, and we're either comparing the last 30, 60, 90. Sometimes we go 180 days, but that's really actually, I've never done that.
We do, but it's been at least 2 years since we went 180.
Right. So usually there's enough transactions in a given area for you to just look back. Let's say in February, March, and April of this year, we're probably only going to use comps that are 30 days old, because the market is going to be moving so quickly, as we already talked about in the previous presentation, that you can't use a comp from December to justify a price in February. You're just not going to be able to. It's going to be very challenging. And also the sellers are already thinking, okay, great, I see prices increasing. So what do their comps? So the sellers' comps actually predict the future. So the seller's comps pace forward, right? Whereas the buyer's comps kind of look back.
All right. So this is one part in the book that I actually disagree with the author about when we talk about how it works. And she actually says that when you're making offers, you want to offer 5 to 10% below your maximum budget. And I strongly disagree with that because of the market that we're in. I'm gonna be honest, I disagree with that in general, because I do not believe in I don't believe in gambling. If you're interested in the property, if you decide that you found a home that you're interested in, you should offer what the comps say the property is worth, versus betting that no one else is making an offer on the property. Because I think that what she's alluding to in this book is that you're going to have a chance for the seller to come back to you to negotiate.
Right. I also think that this book, since it was written in the olden days, they are talking about a balanced market. So a balanced market is one where properties sit on the market for 6 months. But we've been in a seller's market for so long that a lot of people have actually purchased the home that they're about to sell in a seller's market. So they remember how challenging it was for them to secure a property. It actually, 2 years ago, we sold a townhouse to a client who actually had a multiple offer scenario on the townhouse they purchased. And they were now back in the multiple offer scenario. So they already had this anxiety built into their home buying process because they remembered what was the process at that time. So I do think that this book is painting the picture that buyers are in more control than they really are, or they're more influential than they really are, whereas the market really kind of dictates that.
Well, I think also that what buyers need to realize is that the value of the property has nothing to do with your budget at all. Because if your budget is $700,000, that doesn't mean that you're able to buy a $750,000 home. Like, your budget has absolutely nothing to do with the final sales price of a home. Now, what else? We also talked about a little bit a few minutes ago about your pain threshold and knowing what your point is. Like, what we always say, what is the price that if you found out another buyer won the property, you'll be like, I would have paid that. right? That's your maximum price, or that helps you realize how far you're willing to go to get a property. And then you also want to make sure that when you're going into this scenario, that you already know what your top dollar amount is. Like, what won't you go above? And that doesn't mean you have to offer that much, but just know that if you say your max is 750, then don't get emotionally tied to it and say, okay, well, I'll go up to 800, because we've had clients do that. We've had a client, maybe it was 18 months or so ago, and their maximum budget was 1.1 million, and they saw a house that was listed for one. And we were talking to the listing agent, and we're like, hey, our client's interested, we're probably going to put an escalation clause 100,000 above. And the agent's like, we already have one above that. So they're now like, okay, well, we'll go even above our maximum budget.
Right. I will say, you in Northern Virginia, if you're buying a home in Northern Virginia, it's very likely that you'll only get one shot. You're not going to have this. A lot of buyers, especially new first time home buyers, they believe that there's going to be this going back and forth between you and the seller. Like you're going to go to a coffee shop and then you're going to put something on paper.
They watch too much HGTV.
Yes, you're going to slide the number across, and then the person's going to say, "Oh, I don't like that number," and then you'll come back and do this back and forth. That's not true. In our market, we get so many offers on listings that the seller really is just picking the best offer at that time, and they're picking the person who is most likely to respond positively to a counter offer. So oftentimes when we submit an offer, the listing agent will actually reach out to us and talk to us about, okay, great, my client already has another offer. Do you believe your clients are flexible?
Yes, we like this about your offer. There may be something, a term in the offer that they like about your offer. They want to do business with you. Maybe it's a higher down payment. Maybe it's a quicker closing. But this other offer has a higher sales price. And so they may come back and say, hey, would your client come up to this price?
Right. And oftentimes, that is a rare occasion though. So you have to prepare yourself, especially for this upcoming spring market, to put your best offer on the table, right? A lot of people will say, well, I don't want to reveal all my cards at the beginning. This is not a game. There are people on the other side of the table who are well financed, who have large down payments, who have great credit scores, just like you. You in Northern Virginia, you are not unique as far as like in other markets, right? Where people are used to people kind of doing like haggling to a certain degree.
Yeah, not in this market. Not right now. And like I said, not for the last few years.
All right. So next up in this book, we talk about like making an offer on a new construction property. The new construction process is a little bit unique from a lot of unique from the resale
Very
market.
different.
There are really three prices that you want to keep in mind that you're going to be kind of managing. First of all, there's the base price. So this is just what the structure of the property costs, right? So this is the walls, doors. This is just a basic price for the property. Then there are structural design. So structural design changes are when you add a loft and when you add a bump out, when you add a walk-up basement, walk-out basement,
vaulted ceiling,
when you add a covered front porch, when you add a deck. A lot of new construction builders don't really like to do decks, but if you add like a sunroom, all of those things are structural changes that are going to increase the price of the property. Then we have design centered. So the design center is actually where you go in and you select your finishes. You select where are the light switches going to go, ceiling fans,
what cabinets you want, countertops, all that jazz. And that is where it can get tricky, right? Because you go in there, it's like going into a candy store on an empty stomach, and your eyes are just so big and you're just seeing all of these incredible things on the showroom floor, and you just want to add all this to your basket. And you can very easily end up with, $100,000 to $150,000 worth of updates and upgrades in the property.
I will say there is a strategy to going into the design center phase that you want to consider. And one of the things that I tell my clients who are buying new construction is to imagine the property not in its luxury state, so not in the final paint colors, the final finishes, but as far as like the living space, like how do you live in the area? You should always get ceiling fan mounts in your bedrooms, even if you don't plan on putting ceiling fans in them. It's not because you'll never put ceiling fans. It's just that if you want to change over to a ceiling fan mount, it's not a simple change. So that is one of the things I recommend. Also, like, think about wiring, right? Like, where would you put your TV? Sure, some of the TVs have wireless setups these days. You don't envision you having to run internet connection straight to your TV, and a direct internet connection to your TV is just going to provide you with better streaming. A lot of us are streaming these days. Just keep in mind, how would I use this property, right? So you don't have to necessarily get the cabinet upgrades or the countertop upgrades, but light switches, ceiling fan mounts, those things are important as far as like, how do you use the space?
Mm-hmm.
All right. The next thing you want to do when you're making an offer on new construction is you want to have a budget as far as like, how much am I going to spend on the total property, right? You have to go into the design phase. The design phase is where we see most of our clients really spend more than they anticipated.
Yes, because what many buyers don't know is that the price that you see online is the base price. That's before a single light bulb has been added, a single light fixture. So when you see that base price, you have to realize that that's just the box. You don't have anything in a box yet, though. So you have to budget for everything that's going to turn that box into your home.
There's only one builder in our area that actually builds to completion, and that's going to be Dream Finders Homes. So Dream Finders Home, they will pick all the finishes and they will just build the property and then you buy it. So it's almost like a brand new resale property. That is I think that is a great scenario for a lot of people because it takes a lot of the friction away from going over your budget, and you kind of know exactly what I'm going to spend on the property. So big ups to Dream Finders Homes.
Now, there are going to be other homes that you can get for immediate delivery. So if you're looking at townhomes, a lot of times builders will also, if they've sold 3 of the townhomes, then the other 2 on that block, they'll just go ahead and build those. When you're building the townhome, they have to build the whole row. So they'll go ahead and build those so that the finish is for them. But that's not going to be that's not ideal for them. That's not their plan. But they will have a few available for immediate delivery that way. But Dream Finders, they exclusively build that way.
Excellent. All right. So we covered that. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. The next up is when you're buying new construction, there are a couple ways that you can actually get discounts. One of the ways is if you buy as soon as the development is launched, right? So they just break ground, they put the sign up. If you can go in and you could say, you know what, I want to buy now, then those first few properties are going to be priced at the lowest price of any other home in the community. The problem with buying at the beginning is, first of all, you don't know if this development is going to go well. Northern Virginia doesn't really have a history of builders going out of business, right? So that risk is low. The second problem with buying as soon as the builder is developing the land is you may move in and now you live in a construction zone. So there are going to be contractors all over the place. There's
bulldozers and dirt everywhere.
Exactly. The street isn't going to be fully paved in some scenarios. So your car is going to constantly be dirty. You're not going to be able to use you're not going to be able to use the amenities because the amenities usually come in after the development is finished. So like the pool, the gym, the tot lot, all that kind of stuff comes in well after maybe like 50 to 60% of the development is complete. So you don't really get the full use of the property. And another problem with buying as soon as the builder launches the project is you may actually sell your property while the builder is building out the rest of the community, and you're going to be competing with the builder as a resale versus new construction. It's going to be quite challenging. Just something to keep in mind if you're going first, right? Going first, yes, you do get a discount. That discount comes with lower quality of life, right? Because you don't get to use the amenities, and there is a potential that you will sell before the development is finished building.
And you also are saying that you can save on the back end when you're buying towards the end of development, right?
Right. So you can save money on the back end because the builder is now trying to get out of the development, and they may sell those last 2 or 3 properties at some level of discount just to keep them moving. Sometimes the last properties that they're selling are in undesirable locations, or they have the least desirable lot location. So they are harder to move. So they may reduce the price, and the builder now no longer has to deal with the beef, or they don't have to deal with the negative aspects from the other homeowners, right? Because a lot of times builders are kind of stuck with constantly increasing the price, and those price increases are really to help the existing homeowners feel comfortable about their investment. So at the very back end, when you have like maybe 2 or 3 properties that are left, the builder may give you some discount as well.
And then finally, we have incentives. So many builders will offer incentives to reduce the price, usually in the form of closing cost credits. So if you use their lender or use their title company, they may offer you a few $1,000s off of your closing costs if you use their providers versus the providers maybe you had already planned on using.
Excellent. There's one more time when you may get a discount, is when interest rates increase. When interest rates increase, buyer demand drops. Buyer demand usually leads builders to become anxious and uncertain about the future. And so that's another time when you kind of swoop in and get yourself a nice little deal. All right, so that is it. So that was question number 31, how to decide what to offer. If you have any questions about buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate, there is a link in the description to the Perfect Home questionnaire. Fill out that form, and we will schedule a time to meet online via Zoom. If you're on TikTok, that link is in our bio. We look forward to talking to you. So we have one more segment before we say goodnight.
And while we get ready for that transition, if you have any comments, go ahead and put them down below in the comment section. If you have any questions about buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate, we would love to hear them and answer them this evening.
Also, let us know where you're watching us from. What's your location? Today is Tuesday. Hope your week is starting out well. All right.
So our seller question today is going to be about how quickly do you want to move? So we're going to talk about timing your move, how much time you need from the moment you decide you want to sell until you're out of the door.
Timing is a byproduct of your motivation. Your motivation is either tied to getting out quickly or getting the most amount of money. Those two things require two different strategies, and your reluctance to price a property accordingly, right, to do the necessary things to market the property will come into play here.
Yeah, so we always like to think there are going to be a few things you want to consider. First of all, your motive. We talked about yesterday all the different reasons people move, and it's usually going to be due to some type of life change. But your motive is going to determine just how quickly you have to move. If you're selling to relocate, you may have to get out of your home rather quickly if you need to be at a new destination by a certain deadline. Or even if you're purchasing another home, if you already have plans to buy another home, or if you've already closed on your new home, how long can you carry 2 mortgages? Or if you're buying another home and you need the proceeds from the sale of this home in order to finance that next transaction. Okay, well, what's the timeline look like, especially when you're in the seller's market like we are now? How long is it going to take you to even find another home if we're in a very competitive market?
There's another segment of sellers that are on the market, and they're just market testers. So these individuals, if they could get a price, they would sell, but they're not tied to pricing the property, quote unquote, fairly. It's not a fair price. It's just a price that, you know what, if I can make an extra $50,000, $100,000, $200,000,
I'd move.
I'll let the property up. Just watch out for those individuals. If the comps don't support the price that the seller is offering or asking for, then know that you may be dealing with somebody who is not, quote unquote, realistic. And when you're making your offer, just try to have all your emotions detached from that, because it may not go well.
Because just like with buyers, as we talked about comps and CMAs, sellers also get CMAs at the beginning of the process when they're pricing their home. So when you have someone who's just testing the market, they have an agent who told them their house is worth X. And they are saying, well, you know what? Let's try double X and see how that goes.
Right. Sellers CMAs are sellers comparable market analysis prices into the future, whereas a buyer CMA prices for the past. So the buyer is trying to say, what is this house worth today? A seller CMA is saying, what is this house worth tomorrow? Right? So there's six questions to ask yourself to know when you're going, or where you're going and when. The first question is, why are you selling? So what is your motivation? Krista already alluded to a couple motivation points, whether or not you're relocating, whether or not you're going through a divorce, or just other life events that happen, which will answer that question.
Mhm. And then you want to think about what your ideal time is. And so that can be a number of different things, whether you have to be somewhere or even just what works best for you as far as your work schedule, what works best for you as far as being able to show the property. How long is it going to take the property, and how long is it going to be convenient for you to show the home?
Third question you want to ask yourself is, when do you want to be out of the property? So this is more or less like your pie in the sky idea of, okay, great. When I'm thinking about I want my move to be timed this way. So maybe I want to move at the end of March. Your agent is going to use that date to kind of work backwards. So that's important for you to know.
Yes. And then the next one is actually, when must you be out? So if you are leaving and you're planning on listing a house and you say, oh, well, I could be out in March, but then I have to be out by May, right? So if you are relocating for a job, it'd be nice if I could get out of the area by this point, but I absolutely can't leave after this date. So from there, as Abraham said, you'll kind of backtrack and figure out, okay, well, if this person has to be out by this day, and we know that as of right now, homes are sitting on the market for 36 days. It takes 30 days from the time you receive an offer to close on a property. And we also know that you need time to get the home ready to get on the market, right? You need time to declutter and get everything together. So you would just work back from that date to figure out what's the ideal time to come on the market.
I'll also add here, please tell your agent these dates. Sometimes we have clients who are kind of holding stuff to their chest as far as like when they want to move. And once you put your house on the market, it's very likely that you're going to get an offer. So if you're going to get an offer, but you can't move until the middle of May, but you thought it was going to take you longer, please be transparent with your agent so your agent could advise you accordingly. All right. So the fifth question you want to ask yourself is, how quickly do you have to sell? How quickly do you have to sell? And like I said, honesty is the best policy here. Sometimes we have clients who have a move out date, and their move out date is tied to, if I could sell in 30 days, 45 days, or two months, I'll sell. But if I don't meet that date, then I'll rent. Let your agent know, and also just understand that is a different strategy if you're on a time crunch that doesn't align with the market.
Yeah, and then we have number 6, which again goes back to number 4, which is, what is the most amount of time you have to sell? Because if you have a lot of time, then that puts less stress on you. So you're able to declutter slowly. You're also able to market your home coming soon before you're ready to actually come on the market. So that gives you more time. But if you have a clear deadline, you don't have a lot of time, let the agent know what is the longest you can possibly wait to be out of the house. So then you can come up with your best plan.
Next thing you want to consider is that price is a factor here. So if you want to move a home quickly, then pricing it lower or at the market is going to give you the most desirable results there. If you have some time on your hand, right, and you don't need to go anywhere, and you know that you don't mind dealing with the showings and dealing with the questions, then you could price higher. You should not. Now, this book says that if you price low, you may get multiple offers. That's not always the case. There have been cases when, especially for our clients recently, where a property was on the market, I think for 750.
It was on the market at 730.
So 730, my client offered 730 first week on the market, and the seller rejected our offer.
Didn't even counter.
No counter.
Even counter the
Agent
offer.
then reached out to us. They just said we rejected it. So then a week passed, and then the seller's agent reached back out to us and said,
have your clients found a home yet?
Right. Are y'all still interested? And then my client was able to purchase that property for list price. That person, after talking to the agent later on, I found out that the seller assumed that they would sell their home for $800,000.
Yes.
That was the price. They thought that they were going to get an additional $70,000. That may not always work for you. What she should have done was ask for $800,000 and then hope that it worked out, and then just work the price backwards. But this is just something you want to consider. If you're selling a home, price for what you believe you're going to make, because if you don't, you may make that other number. Okay.
That's true. And then we have depends on your market, right? So if you're in a seller's market, then that means that homes are going to sell rather quickly. So if the market is red hot, you could end up receiving multiple offers. And that could mean that you have to expedite your plans as far as move out dates. Sometimes you plan on being out of the house. Oh, I'll put the house on the market and it may take us 30 days to get an offer. But as we're transitioning, as we currently are, homes may have taken 30 days to sell in January, but we're anticipating, because the market is changing, that more homes are going to start going under contract that first weekend or maybe within 10 days, because that's what we're seeing even for our buyer clients now, is that homes are starting to get multiple offers on opening weekend. So that means that that seller has to be ready to vacate in 30 days, maybe 45 days, but 45 days is really a long closing.
Yep. When you think about competition too, you have the inventory, which Chris already talked about. There's also seasonality. So during different seasons, during different times of the year, we'll determine if there's a lot of listings, if there's a lot of buyer demand. Buyer demand dips in the winter months because a lot of buyers are just thinking about other things, right? They have family vacations or vacations in general. They have the end of the year events, holidays. So if you're putting your house on the market at the end of the year, then you should expect to have less showings. You should expect to have a lower sales price. And this also goes for our buyers who are watching this broadcast as well. The winter before January is the best time to get a quote unquote deal, right? It's not going to be a significant deal, but there'll be less competition. And you could plan for that almost every year, every December, October, late October, November, December. All right, so that is it for our 100 questions every seller should ask. Right now, we're going to stay online with you all until a few minutes. A couple songs have passed. So 100 questions every seller should ask. If you have any questions about buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate, put those questions down below and we will answer them. While we're waiting for some questions to come through, I just want to remind you that there is a link in the description to the Perfect Home Questionnaire. Fill out that form and we will schedule a time to meet online via Zoom to answer any of your questions about buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate.
And we're live twice a day, Monday through Thursday. We are here at 10 a.m. and again at 8 p.m. And we're live on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and even Twitter.
Woo!
So tomorrow we are going to cover a few more questions. We're going to go over the Prince William market since they have the second most sales in January 2023. So we're going to go over the numbers for Prince William County, and we're going to answer 2 more questions. On the buy side, we're going to talk about, now that you know you want to make an offer, what does that mean and what does that entail? So we're going to go over the specifics of writing a contract and the other things that go along with the contract outside of just, coming up with the terms of your contract. And then on the sales side, we're going to talk a little bit more, I believe, about the timeline of the sale.
Okay, well, Crystal, get that together. We also want to let you know that if you're ready to buy a home or sell a home or invest in real estate, come back to the channel, watch the show. If you know someone who is in the real estate market, please send them to the channel. This would be a great way to introduce ourselves to them. And also, this is one of our primary lead generation sources. We like to educate people, give you an idea of how it is to work with us, and to show you, who you're working with.
Yes. And so in case you don't know, Abraham is the agent on our team. I am his assistant. So I primarily handle any administrative duties on our team. And on the admin side, I'll say that the question for tomorrow on the seller side is going to be, we're going to continue talking about seasonality. So we're going to talk a little bit more about what it means to sell your home in each of the 4 seasons and why any of those 4 can work, but just what to expect when you do choose to list during a certain season.
Excellent. So we do have one comment so far on TikTok. It is. Oh, thank you guys. Oh, my pleasure. This is Sultan Taman. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us.
Also, we have JMP Pastrano joined us. Thank you so much for joining the show. ask your questions, any real estate questions you may have. We are in Northern Virginia. Been a real estate agent for 14 years now, 10 years, almost 10 years in Northern Virginia specifically. So would love to answer any questions that you may have.
Is it 2013? I think it's been 9 years
Right, it'll
since
be
I became an agent. Although I do not work as an agent now. I just work as Abraham's assistant now.
right. So post any questions that you may have.
You know what?
Nope.
It's Valentine's Day. There are probably a lot of people out doing Valentine's Day things.
Oh, you think so?
I think so. People are probably out doing Valentine's Day things.
That's true. That makes sense. How was your this is your fourth session? How was it?
This is my fourth session. I haven't been on camera in a while. It's been a little while since I've done the live streams of the videos, but it's good to be back. I always enjoy it. Thank you for having me back.
My pleasure. It gives me somebody to use as a break when I'm in between my rants.
Thank you for allowing me to join you. I always enjoy doing the live streams with you. While we're waiting, I actually wanted to tell everyone who is watching, if you're not watching from YouTube, we do have a large library of content on our YouTube channel. So on there, you will find videos ranging from just us doing things like taking hikes around the area, visiting different places, but also we do tours of new construction properties. We have probably the largest library of all the new construction properties in Northern Virginia, as Abraham has toured almost all of them. And we also have lots of videos about the pros and cons of different parts of Northern Virginia, different neighborhoods. And we also have our cost of living videos and a few best places to live with some neighborhood spotlights. So if you are interested in learning more about Northern Virginia and the Northern Virginia market, please check out our YouTube channel, Where to Live in Northern Virginia.
All right, let's say hello to Norman Velasquez. Thank you for joining the show. So we're going to stay on for one more song. This is Last Call for Questions. This is my favorite song on our little track here.
I hadn't noticed.
Yeah. I love songs that have like pianos as the main instrument.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
So post your questions, any questions you may have. If not, we will see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to be testing out this two shows a day.
For the next 2 weeks.
So we're committed for the next 2 weeks, and then we'll make a decision. I will say these 2 shows a day, this is talking takes some energy. It's not as simple as it looks.
It does.
Hold on. Wise Talk 24. Thank you so much for joining us. Let us know if you have any real estate questions.
Yeah, it does take a lot of energy, especially trying to squeeze it in with everything else for the workday as well. So it makes the workdays longer.
It does. Also, just like thinking about what you want to say, formatting it, and also getting past the idea that people are thinking about you or they may judge what you're saying. So
we're going to see if we're going to continue with the 2 shows after the end of next week, or if we're just going to go to strictly a 10 a.m. or strictly at 8 p.m. show. So what works best for you guys? Do you think evening show is better? We're split right now on our opinion. So
well, what's your opinion?
I said I prefer the evening shows.
Oh, you prefer the evening show?
I prefer the evening shows.
Yeah, I prefer the morning show because the morning show allows me to get the presentation out of the way, and then I get the rest of my day. Whereas with the evening show kind of interferes with my family time.
That's true. We don't get to spend this last hour and a half with the boys, but for me, this is easier for me because I manage his schedule. This is easier for me to manage your schedule with this. We don't ever have 8 p.m. showings. We do frequently have 10 a.m. showings. So.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so either way, it'll work out. Whether we do both, do one, we'll manage the calendar one way or the other.
I mean, even if we take the morning show idea and we do morning shows for let's say we move the morning show up, because right now it's at 10 a.m. If we move the morning show up to 9 a.m., then So you don't think that the 9 a.m.
We can't do
morning
9
show?
a.m. because the fellas leave
Hold
at
on.
7.
Welcome to the show, DHD Hanasar 1. Thank you for joining us on TikTok.
Excellent. The boys leave at 7. The boys leave at 7. That gives us a chance to go to the gym and get back home and then have to get ready for the show. I could never be ready for a show at 9 if we leave the house at 7.
What about if we go to the gym at 5 a.m.? If we go to the gym at 5 a.m., then we go to the gym from 5 a.m. to 6. We get back home at 6, handle the boy stuff, and then we...
Oh, you're not joking.
No, I'm not joking. I'm serious, because if we go to the gym at 5, not even go to the gym at 5. We get up at 5, we go to the gym at 5, we get to the gym at 5:15, 5:20, and then we work out until 6:30. Then we get the boys, do the boys stuff, or some way where
I have to be home at 6.
Okay, so we get you. We make sure you get home at 6. Then we do the boys stuff, and then we get on the do the show at 9. So then that way you have your time to do your beautification stuff. And no, seriously, because then that way we would obviously, of course, we would go to sleep earlier at night, but that would help us to. I just think that the morning show presents the best option for us, because it gets it out of the way. Because even if, like, say for instance, since the market is starting to heat up, there are going to be times where we're dealing with multiple clients, dealing with multiple offers. I think that especially Mondays are going to be
contract writing in the evening for me.
Yeah, it's going to be it's not going to be fun.
I'm gonna have to think about it. I
My wife
really don't like
5 a.m.
I really don't like waking up early.
She doesn't know that it exists, but
I don't want to see. I don't want to see it, and it doesn't want to see me. I mean, that might be what's best. I just quit drinking coffee. I just quit drinking coffee.
Well, if you go to sleep at a normal time, then you won't have to worry about drinking coffee.
We'll see. I don't know. We'll do these next 2 weeks, and then we will revisit this 9 a.m. live stream scenario.
Another reason why I think 9 a.m. is going to be better for us is I think that some people, a lot of people don't do much work in the morning, right? So they may watch us at work or might watch us going to work, stuff like that. So I think that
I don't know. Okay. We'll revisit this in 2 weeks.
What do you all think? Anybody watching has an opinion? Do you like the morning show or the nighttime show?
Well, I think the people here now would say they like the nighttime show because they're here now. So.
Well, they heard my argument. I think that they probably would be able to take a side, because your position is that you like this later time. You feel a little bit more festive.
Yes, I'm awake. This is the most awake I am, is in the evening after I've gotten everything done for the day. I don't have much to think about as far as work for the rest of the evening. I've already even prepared for tomorrow. So I just don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
See, I think that with the working out in the wee hours of the morning, that's going to already get your blood flowing. That's going to get you kind of prepared for the day, and then you'll be able to always have that workout. Yeah, your husband's right. All right, we have let's see, Jillian Arsarato.
Okay, but
thank you so much for joining the TikTok. Let us know if you have any questions about buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate.
Okay, well, we'll let this song play out, but I don't think a decision is going to be made on that this evening. So,
oh no,
thank you for bringing that to my attention. I may give that some thought.
Yes.
I may give that some thought.
Thumbs up, thumbs down for the morning show. Thumbs down for the nighttime show. All right, so this is last call for questions.
Oh,
last
is it
call.
now?
This is the last call. Well, you had that whole little segment you wanted to do where you talked about the scheduling, which is fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So on TikTok, I just figured out this whole green screen thing where you have the little circle right here. I love this. And also because there's a button in the enhance menu where you press mirror. So now this little screen right here, this picture, I could just make this in Canva. The old photo I had to make in Photoshop, and Photoshop is just cumbersome, time consuming. Canva, doing this in Canva, I could just swap out this little photo, put some other of my greatest little photos from around the way.
Okay, very good.
This is
Someone
the
suggested
Lincoln Memorial.
someone suggested yesterday in the TikTok that we go live together, but we discovered that because TikTok can't see me, but we discovered
But she does
that
exist.
I do exist. TikTok, I don't have enough followers on my personal TikTok, so which I mean because I don't use it, so I can't join him on the live. So I'll just be a voice here on the side that you hear from time to time.
Do you think you're going to go through the rigmarole of building out your TikTok channel to get to 1,000 subscribers?
I will if my boss tells me that's what I need to do, but I wasn't planning on it.
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay, thank goodness. I was gonna say if you told me I needed to do that, then I would, but ideally I wouldn't because I'm not a big social media poster.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary.
Okay, excellent. All right.
Excellent. So thank you all so much for joining the show. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about Prince William County real estate numbers and to go over another question from the 100 questions every seller should ask, and then 100 questions every first-time home buyer should ask. If you have any questions or if you want to watch this rebroadcast, go to our YouTube channel, Where to Live in Northern Virginia, to see the rebroadcast and also to look at our library of content that's currently available. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you on the next show. Peace. Mm-hmm.